what are some signs that I've actually shifted, that I've actually gotten to that new reality, or that I am in the state of having my desires? What are some signs? So if that interests you, you're going to want to keep watching. Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy HBICs. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I've been asked a really good question that I think deserves an answer. It's, what are some signs that I've actually shifted, that I've actually gotten to that new reality, or that I am in the state of having my desires? What are some signs? So if that interests you, you're going to want to keep watching. But first, some basic bitch. If you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithkimberly@gmail.com. All of my coaching options are in the drop box below. They're in the screens that just went by. I have 2 channel memberships. Each channel membership gets my presence twice a week. That means I go live with them twice a week. I have the exclusive lives group that I go live with them on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That is a Hbic only group. That's the group where we bring each other up. We talk about our damn success stories. And there's always a lot of them. It's friggin' amazing. And tips and tricks for manifestation, as well as the hot seat / group coaching. I go live with them every single Friday at 9 a.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. That's the group that you can get in the hot seat and ask me anything you want. And I do my best to make it as fair as hell as to who is getting in the hot seat, so everyone gets their turn. If you join that group, you have access to both the channel memberships. So you get to go live with me twice a week. Well, actually 3 times a week, because I always do a weekly live somewhere during the week. I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have Clapper, and I would love for you to join me everywhere. If you're new here, hi, yes, I'm Kimberly, and sometimes I'm all dressed up and fancy, and sometimes I'm just not. That's just who I am. I keep it real and 100 on this channel, so you get all sides of me. And if you're actually interested in hanging out with all sides of me, you can come over to the Kimberly's Other Life channel, where you get to see my journey of life. There's plenty of old videos on there that show me as I'm in the very early stages of law of assumption. I may not be talking about it in the videos, but you can see in my personality, you can see in my appearance how I was feeling inside. So if you want to hang out with me and whatever, get just that friendly zhuzh of seeing or peeking into my own life, and I would love for you to come over there. That is in the drop box below. And thank you to all of you that already have. You guys have gotten me over the 1,000 mark. It's so exciting. Anyways, let's get to the video. So, what are some signs that we have shifted, that we have evolved from our early days of our journey? Now, in my opinion and in my own experience, every single one of us finds manifestation usually from a victim state. And with a victim state, that can be all different things, right? Because there's infinite states of consciousness, infinite versions of ourselves, infinite realities, infinite. So think about that, infinite. So there's more than one victim state, right? So don't panic if you hear that word victim state or that phrase victim state. Don't panic, okay? You're not stuck there forever. But most of us find conscious manifestation from a victim state, usually a broken heart. Maybe we're feeling really overwhelmed and broke. Maybe there's a health scare. Maybe something is going on in our life that just has really brought us down, and boom, here comes conscious manifestation. And I myself came from a victim state. Most of us do. So this journey, as we are working towards having our desires, this journey is a journey of self-evolvement, right? This is a journey of self. All aspects of manifestation is about self. And as we are deciding that we are our new selves, and if you're new here, new self just means the version of you that is having the manifestations, right? Or embodying the state of the version of you that has the manifestation. That's all new self means, at least on this channel. So as we are on this journey of becoming that new self, we are rising in consciousness. And all of us have a dwelling state. So that when, sometimes when something shitty pops up in our 3D reality, we fall back to our dwelling state. It's where we find ourselves when we're in autopilot, right? Now, listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That dwelling state is rising in consciousness with us. So as we are working on our affirmations or our visualizations or our scripting or us just making the decision through embodiment that we are our new selves, we are rising. So the repetition of us doing our manifestation game, we are rising in consciousness. So therefore we are pulling our dwelling state with us. Now granted, the dwelling state is not necessarily the same thing as your wish fulfilled, but it's where you land. It's where you fall back to. And I'm only saying that because I think sometimes we panic about, let's say something unfavorable popped up in the 3D and we're having an unfavorable reaction. Our gut reaction is to then be hard on ourselves for feeling that we have fallen into a victim state. And the truth is we just fell back into our dwelling state. And no worries, that's changing too. So don't panic. Don't be hard on yourself because you're noticing that you're reacting and responding in an unfavorable way. You're shifting, you're evolving, and it's going to get better and better. 3 things that popped right into my mind when I was asked initially this question is what I'm going to share with you today. So one of the first things that you will maybe notice, first thing, is the way in which you are responding to circumstances and conditions will be different. It will have changed. Now, I know probably some of you have just thought logically and you just thought to yourself, yeah, but I'm responding, I'm reacting, I'm emotionally reacting. That's a victim state. But it's not the same victim state that you started your journey with. So it's still a new state and it's still a sign that you have shifted. So I like to look at victim state as, we all have that tendency to see it as just the one victim state. And it's not that way. Look at it from this analogy. That original victim state that you started in, you had all your limiting beliefs and their tanks were full, like a gas tank. They were 100% full, right? But as you start choosing to be your new self, the version of you that has your manifestation, those tanks start depleting. They're different states. They're a different state, but they're depleting. So the victim state you may have fallen back into, that doesn't mean you're going all the way back to the beginning of your journey. No, it means you may have fallen into a victim state where maybe your tanks are only 25% full in limited beliefs. Do you see what I'm saying? That's still rising in consciousness. That's still you evolving, and that's still you in repetition choosing to be new self. So don't look at it as failure because it's not. So yes, that first sign, that first thing that popped into my mind is you're going to be reacting and responding differently. And if you've noticed that, maybe a circumstance or a condition popped up in your 3D, let's say a specific person forgot to call or a bill popped in and you noticed that you didn't lose your shit in that moment like you would have maybe a month ago, a year ago. Maybe you've noticed that. That is a clear sign that you have shifted. The number 2 sign that you have shifted, you're starting to care less and less about the how and the when your manifestation is going to materialize. You're less focused. You're less worried about the how and the when. That is a huge indication that you've shifted. So if you notice that your focus isn't on when is my manifestation going to get here? Why is this taking so long? Specific person hasn't changed yet. You shifted, and you shifted good. That's a very good indicator. And that's actually, truthfully, if not the full wish fulfilled, you are very, very close. So stick with that. Stick with what you've been doing, because that is an amazing shift and it is important and it will happen for everyone. But yeah, you stop giving a crap about details such as, when the hell is this going to show up? It feels good, doesn't it? It feels a lot less resistive. So yeah, number 2, you stop giving a shit about the how and the time or the when. And side note, my little pit bull is sitting right next to me and she is snoring. She is bored to tears with manifestation content. So she is snoring, but living her best life. That's the warning in case you got headphones on. A third sign that you've shifted and you are rising in consciousness, you are able to perceive when you are in a victim state and seeing things through your victim state filtered glasses. Yeah, I know how that sounds. It sounds like you're still in a victim state, but guess what? You've risen in consciousness, because when we are in a particular state, it can be very, very difficult to perceive that you're in a different state, or that you are seeing things from the placement of, okay, I realize, okay, I just got triggered by a specific person not calling me, but I see it now. I see that I'm labeling that as an unfavorable circumstance. I'm labeling that as meaning if he doesn't call or text when he says he's going to, I'm labeling that as he doesn't love me. I see that now. I'm perceiving that now. You totally shifted. You totally shifted, because you wouldn't be able to perceive it. We are blinded by our state glasses. And listen, shifts are instant. They're instant. So even though it may not feel that way to you, it may not look that way to your 3D, but it's instant. So yeah, you shifted. When you are able to perceive things along that way, you've shifted. Don't discount all the little incidents on your journey. Don't blow them off. A lot of us have that tendency that, when we're experiencing things in our 3D, we're in a habit of blowing things off as coincidence or not important. No, if you were able to perceive how you were interpreting a negative or unfavorable circumstance or condition, you give yourself that pat on the back. It's a sign that you're moving, that you're rising in consciousness. And that is what we are all doing, rising in consciousness. So well done. Well done. I'll give you the bonus, because I think I said I was only going to give you 3 signs. Well, here's a 4th one. The people around you may be showing up differently. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, in your 3D reality, people are always ever reflecting you, who you believe you are. Don't go logical. That doesn't mean they reflect every single individual thought of yours. They're reflecting your beliefs. However, when we have shifted and we've moved into a new state, well, we have risen in consciousness. So people are reflecting differently. They're showing up differently because you're different. Now, don't misunderstand this either, as in when we are falling back into a less favorable dwelling state, our perception from that state is that probably people are showing up like crap, right? They're reflecting the beliefs of the state you're embodying. Don't overthink it. Don't panic. This isn't permanent. Put the focus back on who you're being, and people will reflect the same again. Now listen, I can easily prove to you that you are shifting all the time. Let me give you this. Think about just a normal day in your life. Pay attention to how you are perceiving your world, or how you're interacting with the people in your life. Maybe, let's say there's a moment where you have a little tiff with a family member. In that moment, you may have reacted, you may have had an emotional reaction. So the way you're perceiving that from a victim state, that person was attacking you, right? They're attacking you. They never see your side. See how you're perceiving it? Here they go again. But maybe a few hours later, you're looking at it as, well, actually, I was kind of being a douche in that moment. I didn't have to, I didn't have to put my dirty dishes in the dish strainer. I could have put them in the dishwasher. So I was kind of being a jerk too. You see things differently. And we kind of blow that off to, well, no, I was just, trying to see that person's side. You wouldn't be able to perceive it without the shift. So think about anything in your life. Think about how you feel about certain things when you start the day, as opposed to how you think about those things in the middle of the day. You're shifting all day long. All day long, we move through states. It's just the states that we return to that matter for your manifestation. Do you see what I'm saying? We are always in a state of consciousness. We are always in the midst of identifying as a specific version of ourselves. And we might not be aware of that when we first start this journey. And that's because we are all conditioned to believe that the person that we are is the only version of ourselves. That's our conditioning. That's what kept you asleep all these years, believing that this reality is the only true reality. But it's not. You're shifting all the time. So those were 4 pretty clear signs that, hey, if you're experiencing any of them, you've shifted. You have shifted. And let me say this. If you haven't experienced any of those, don't panic. Just ask yourself, have I been really focused on the new me, the me that has my manifestation? Have I been focused there? Or am I putting the focus more on nothing's changing? This isn't working. I'm afraid I won't get my manifestation. I'm afraid I won't be able to manifest specific person. Specific person isn't changing. Nothing's changing in my 3D. The money isn't coming. Feels like things are getting worse, right? More and more bills are coming in. I feel like a fool for pretending I can manifest whatever I want. That's all old self. That's all the you that doesn't believe they can have their manifestation. So if you know that you're dominantly experiencing more of that kind of thinking, well, there's your evidence. So don't panic. Just get your attention and the focus off all the things you're not happy with and start putting them on the, well, what if it did work? What if I did get my manifestation? Why am I such a good manifester? Why am I so amazing at this? Go for a different perspective and see how things will change. So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.